This is How Did I Get This Far, a podcast tackling the basic skills and knowledge that we all completely missed learning. Soon enough, you'll stop having to ask yourself, how did I get this far? On this episode, wait, the oil in my car only lasts up to 5,000 to 10,000 miles? It's time to find out, how did I fix my car this far? Hi everyone! Taking care of a car can be truly exhausting, but we are finally giving you the manual on car maintenance. Fueling us with the basics is our guest, OVET Reynoso. He is known for sharing step-by-step instructions on car and tire repair with his followers on social media. He has been featured on Yahoo Life for making car maintenance less confusing. So let's welcome to the podcast, OVET.
Hey, what's going on?
What is up? Okay, so I need to ask, how did car maintenance click for you? Because I don't get it, and you seem to know the basics pretty well. So where did you learn all of this?
Well, I learned it growing up, usually from my dad. I was usually just holding a flashlight for him as I grew up when he was working on his cars. So that's where most of it came from. And then as I got older, I got kind of scared to ask him because I felt like I should already know it. So it was a mixture of my dad and YouTube.
Amazing, because that's exactly how I felt, but I did not act on it and learn it. So that's where you're going to come in. I will say the basics on car maintenance is one of my most requested topics. Specifically, shout out to listeners Hannah and Jillian who really wanted more on this. So we're going to start as basic as possible. Let's start with the lights that are on your dashboard. I know there's like the engine one and like the tire pressure one and probably some others, but you know them better. So what are those lights on the dashboard? How important are they to take care of right away, and what do they mean?
I'd say probably the most important one is your check engine light, because I live in California, and in order to smog a car, you're gonna need to take care of that check engine light. But in other states, I mean, you could put it off to the side if you'd really want to, but obviously the check engine light means to check your engine. Something's going wrong. There's a sensor. And then another one would probably be this is common in like all the cars I get in. It's a tire pressure one. It has like a circle with like a little exclamation mark in the middle. Either one of your sensors is broken or one of your tires has a hole in it and it's losing air. You got to add some air.
Yeah, I have had that light on for about a month currently on my car. So
Yeah,
guilty that I'm like, oh, too afraid of it.
That one is like super common. What's another light? Oh, the battery one on the Dodge vehicles. It's a battery, usually means bad battery or your alternator is going to go out soon. So you might want to take care of that one before your alternator or your battery does go out, because then you're going to get stranded.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about others. Probably there's some other general car parts that are very crucial. And obviously, there's a million parts to a car. I feel like it's like this very complicated human with all these organs, and I get just very overwhelmed. But what are some of the general car parts that we should be paying the most attention to or need the most servicing?
Depending on where you live, your windshield wipers. I mean, if it rains a lot, then go ahead and change those, obviously. And then air filters. There's one inside the motor, and then there's the cabin air filter, which is inside. The one inside is for your AC if it's not blowing strong enough and either smells funny, you might want to change it out. Your engine one, I'd say probably make sure it's on good. If you do have an aftermarket one, or you might want to clean it out, because that's what sucks in air into your motor, and you don't want like debris flying into your motor because then it can mess it up.
Gosh, okay, this is terrifying, but good. We're getting this out. Okay, so you had mentioned before about like your the air filters. Okay, I'd love to dive into that. What's the deal with what's the deal with cabin air filters? So I'm assuming that is in relation to like the air conditioner and the heater. So if they're not working, you said that they can smell, which is alarming. But what else is going on with that? And is there anything we can do if we notice something might be up with it, or we notice that the air conditioning is not working?
Like the AC is not working at all?
Yeah, or whatever. I don't even know what some other issues might be, but what are some causes, I guess, that can make this happen? Is there anything we can do besides going to a repair, like a mechanic?
Like if your AC is not working, it could be either there's an AC compressor inside your motor, so that might be going out, or you might need to add some AC if it's not blowing cold. But then the cabin one is, you know how they have that little button inside the car which has a little arrow that like does kind of like a U-turn.
Yeah.
When you turn on your AC, recirculating air. So what that does when you have it on, it recirculates the air that's already inside your car. So it blows it out and then it's sucking in through the top of the dash. Whereas if you don't have it on, then it sucks like right on top of your hood.
Gosh, okay.
I don't know if you watched. Yeah.
Yeah, so is there a bonus, a perk to using the air within your car versus, I guess, was it taking air from outside? I don't even know how the science of that works.
Um. Well, that's what the cabin air filter is in there for. If you don't have the recirculating air on, then it's just gonna suck in like fresh air from the outside. But then it's say I know you've driven on the freeway and you're driving like past like a cow farm and you get that smell from,
Yeah.
yeah, the manure smell, yeah, you get that in there. Then you might want to go ahead and turn on the
Yeah.
recirculating air so you don't get the air from the outside, that stinky air.
Got it. Okay. Another topic I think for the basics portion here is oil changes. What is oil for? I'm assuming it like liquids up everything inside, makes the gears run more smoothly. I'm making this up. I have no idea. But this question was also really common. So shout out to listeners Shane, Natasha, Nathan. They all wanted to know what is up with an oil change.
Obviously, in an engine, you know, there's a bunch of parts moving up and down. You got your pistons and everything just going, flowing. And what oil does, it lubricates all those parts because with the friction, obviously, if there's no oil, then there's going to be like wear and tear. There's just oil is basically to lube everything up so there's less wear and tear. But oil lasts like up to 5 to 10,000 miles, depending on what brand and
Mm.
stuff, because it's going through a lot. So you might want to change it to keep that viscosity level.
Gotcha. So you said to lubricate. I said to liquefy. So that shows where we're at in this episode. Okay, so I don't know if a coolant has to do with cabin air filters or if that is at all in association with the air in your car. I have no idea what a coolant is, or what the right level is. I just know that's also something on the dashboard. So what is coolant?
Oh, okay. When you need to add coolant, when it says to add coolant, well, coolant is it keeps your motor running colder because
Oh, I literally thought it was something about the temperature in your car. It has nothing to do with the air in your car.
no, I wouldn't say so. I mean, if you don't have
Okay.
coolant, then your car is gonna run like super hot, and you might get some of it inside. But with coolant, it keeps your engine running cooler. So
Okay. So it has to do with your engine's temperature.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Something you
I
wouldn't.
never knew that.
Yeah, that's the. It keeps your engine running cooler. It keeps it from heating up because if you're running with no coolant and it heats up, then heat is another factor which could damage your engine.
Okay, so is coolant something that you purchase the same way as like oil? When you're like adding oil, you add coolant. Is that like a physical thing?
Um, yeah, but with the thing with coolant, it doesn't need to be changed as often as oil does.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty neat.
That is very neat. Okay. What about okay, this is my last like basic question. What about jump starting a car? So from what this is like my knowledge so far, that is when someone's battery's dead, somebody else has a battery that's not dead. They have these cables and they I guess turn their car on to share some electricity or something like that. Am I even close or like what's going on there?
Yeah, you're correct. I think you're pretty
All
spot on.
right. Okay. All right.
So yeah, basically one car's battery is dead. Either they were just chilling in a parking lot with their music on, and or it could be just a bad battery. So then you call up your friend, tell him to come over. Hey, I need a jump start. He either says yes or no, you're stranded there. And so if he does come by and comes by with the jumper cables, obviously, his car keeps on, and then you basically charge your battery with his battery. But now you need to change your battery because it's gone a little bad.
Okay, so it's not always the case that if for some reason your battery's dead that you can just get it to fix with somebody else's battery.
You can get it to turn on to go get home,
Okay, but there's a
but
good sign
then
that you need to get that replaced.
yeah, either that or the alternator. The alternator is what recirculates power back into the battery and keep it like keep the
Okay.
voltage and everything.
Okay, so there's a chance the battery is okay. We just need the alternator, which is a new
Yeah.
word for me. Okay. Awesome. All right, well we're going to move on to the topic that does have the most requested question I've ever had with this podcast. So we're going to work our way there when it comes to tires. So let's say you hit a pothole or you heard a sound or you see the air pressure light is on. How do you know if it's going to become a flat tire or that it might just be low tire pressure and it's not that like serious?
Well, for starters, Probably just look at the side of your door and fill up because on the side of your door has what PSI to put your tires on.
Mm.
So if that light does come on, then go to your nearest gas station or your friend that has a an air machine and fill up your tires to the correct PSI. And the light comes on again, then either one of your tires is losing air, like has a hole in it, a little nail, or it could be that the inside the tire, there's a sensor which tells you it's losing air. That sensor could be bad.
Is there like a specific way to ensure if it's like really really low, is that to indicate that okay, there might be like a nail in the tire, or is there like a surefire way to know that it's something less than Zens?
Yeah, there could be a okay. It could be two to three things. It could be nail in the tire. Either the tire is really old and it's getting little cracks in it, so the air is coming out,
Oh,
or your rim is bent, which is less likely the case.
okay. What I hear when it comes to when it's simple, it's just okay, like normal low tire pressure, is that there was just a lot of change in temperature. And like the tires, I guess, I don't know, expand or something, but that's just usually what a normal person tells me. Is that a thing?
Oh yeah. I've heard that too. With climate change, it could expand the tire, so you
Okay.
could either raise or low in your PSI.
All right. And then when are you to replace or rotate your tires? When is like the time to do that?
To replace your tires, well, I mean, just look at them. I mean,
Just look at them.
yeah, I'd say just
Come on,
look
man.
at them because I run mine pretty bald. Sometimes,
Got it.
yeah,
Have you heard of
yeah.
the penny trick?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. Me personally, I don't use it because I just look at them and be like, oh damn, they need to be changed.
Yeah,
But
maybe that's
yeah,
that's really more of it.
yeah, because I mean the penny trick, you just put it and then you just see if it's lower than the head, then you got to change it, obviously. But I mean, you can
Mhm.
tell by looking at it. If it looks pretty bald, then you got to change it. You know?
All right, so that does lead me to the most requested question I've had. I'm going to just name some of the listeners. So Shane, Kaylee, Ashley, Natasha, Kelsey, Beatrice, Jess, Raina, Molly, all requested to know the basics on changing a tire. Now, I get that this is just audio, so I don't know how much we can get into it, but is there any simple way to explain how to do that?
By changing a tire, do they mean? Because I mean, you wouldn't be able to physically do it at home unless you have the machine to like take the tire off of the rim and put the new one on. But if they mean like changing a tire from like you get a flat tire on the freeway and you want to change it to the spare,
Yeah.
most cars do come with like a little repair kit with the spare. You just take all that out, put the little jack under there, get the car jacked up, and then they come with a tool to take the little lug nuts off that hold the tire on place, and then just take the tire off, and then put the spare on, put the lug nuts back on, take it off of the jack. But you can't run it on that tire. On that spare tire, you can't. You have to probably just drive down to the tire shop and get a new tire.
Oh. So when do you use a spare tire then?
The spare tire is for like if you get a flat and you can't get to a certain place. Like if you get a flat on the street and there's a tire repair shop right down the street, you could most likely drive on the flat there slowly.
Mm,
But in most cases, just switch it out with the spare.
got it. So I can't actually switch it to the spare. I have to kind of just get that flat as good as possible to make it to to somebody that has the tools.
Well, that spare comes with like a rim and the tire on there, so you're able to grab the spare,
Oh.
take your whole flat tire with the rim off, and then grab the spare with the rim and then put it on.
Oh, so the spare is like, hey, like we got you. Like we're pretty much ready to go. Just get us on. You
Yeah,
like suck.
yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, see that shows how much I know cuz I didn't even know that the spare looked different than a regular tire. So,
Oh yeah,
now I
I'm
know.
sure you've seen people driving on the freeway with like three of the same tire, and then they got the front right or the front left, or
Yeah.
one of them would look like a little black donut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the spot. That's the spare.
That means they've been having a rough day. Got it. Uh, Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll share some visuals more on the tires, but I think that's a really great start. Okay, so we're gonna go into going to a mechanic because I know this is where at least I know I get really overwhelmed. I give my dad a call every time that I go to a mechanic because I'm always worried that they're trying to upsell me and that I'm getting the wrong thing because they're like, okay, what kind of package do you want? And I'm like, I literally don't know because I clearly didn't even know what a tire was. So we'll go over some of the basics on this. Before we go to a mechanic, are there any simple aspects of a car that we really could have handled on our own and didn't need to go to a car mechanic?
Ah, in most cases, yes, everything is just a matter of bolts and taking off the bolts, putting the new thing on, taking that old thing off and putting the new one back on, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. I remember I had the left turn signal on my car once. It was like blinking really fast. I thought that absolutely meant that the bulb was out. But then I went to a car repair place right by my house, just out of desperation. I was like, hey, please don't make me go all the way to a actual place that fixes my car. I said, hey, I don't know if I need a new bulb. Can you just tell me like what's going on with my car? And they said it could be multiple things, which overwhelmed me because I'm like, I don't have enough room in my head to understand multiple causes. But he said that it was a matter of corrosion, which, from what I recall, meant that like with humidity or rain or whatever, water can get into the space between, I guess, like the bulb and where the metal that it touches on the bulb, and it gets kind of like rusty or something. I don't know. It totally worked. He just took this like, I don't know, like sandpaper or something and just like rubbed the inside of like where the bulb goes in, and it worked. I don't know if it was a temporary fix or like a permanent one, but it worked. But yeah, he was like, yeah, we have to kind of analyze and diagnose. I'm like, what are we, like in the ER? Like, I don't understand. Do you have any other advice when it comes to like your headlights or your taillights, your fog lights? I don't even know what those lights are, but do you have any other input on those?
Yeah, usually when it blinks fast, it could mean just either like say you have your left blinker on and it's blinking really fast, then it could be either just the bulb, either the front or the back. But that's most cases.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you kind of just have to go to someone and analyze all those different options.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just try going to your local auto shop and grabbing a new bulb, asking for a bulb for your specific car, and plugging it in. And if it stops, then boom, you got it. But if it's still doing it, then yeah, I think you might need to take it to a local mechanic.
All right. So let's go to when we go to a mechanic. What are they typically like? What's in a typical regular car maintenance check? Like, do you know like what are kind of the most crucial things that need to be covered in them?
Oil is a main factor because if everything inside your motor is not lubed up.
Okay, so let's talk about oil for a second because I know there's those different packages. There's like synthetic oil, regular, and then there's like the blend. What are those? What does that mean? What's the right one to pick? What's the deal?
It's just of what your car takes. If you're buying a car new off the lot, then ask them if they're already running the synthetic blend because once you go synthetic, then you can't like go back.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's like once you make that choice, you just have to commit to that.
yeah, you have to keep going synthetic.
Dang.
Um, and then all those numbers that you see on the thing, like the 5W, 10W, 30, 25, 5W, 25, whatever. So 5W, the way I like to look at it is 5W. The first number is how thick it is when it's cold. So 5W, like 5W, the W stands for winter. That's how I look at it.
Mm.
So the first number is how when it's cold. Now when the car's warmed up, then that's how thick it becomes. So yeah, every car has their different specific oil they run. Some cars run 5W25, 5W30, 10W30. It's just whatever the make wanted to run on it.
Okay. Is there one like do you ever feel like a mechanic is ever trying to upsell like which package is right? Or are they being do you think they're being sincere when they're like, no, you really need the synthetic oil. That's the best one for your car?
Ah, okay. I've tested it out where I've gone to some of those oil change places and yeah, they do the oil change, but then they're like, "Oh, you want to get this one or you want to get that one? What package do you want to get?" I feel like not too sure, don't quote me on it, but I think they make commission on what they sell because towards the end they're like, "Oh, you also need some coolant, or you also need this." So I mean, I can see why they would do that.
Yeah, yeah. I always worry that, and that's why I always panic. I'm like, Dad, they said that I also need like this air filter change, but like I don't know. What do you think? He's like, I'm not with your car, Amanda. I don't know. Just say no. And then I'm like leaving with a car that like needed new windshield wipers like 3 years ago, and I'm like, no, they tried to upsell me. My windshield wipers kind of work.
Oh my God. Yeah, I seen a video on YouTube of so there was this group of people, they did all their oil change and made it brand new. They changed everything basically and they took it to an oil change place. And so everything was brand new. And they went ahead and did the oil change before checking it. They charged them for it, and then they said that you're gonna need new tranny fluid, new windshield wiper fluid, all this and that. But they had just changed everything on it. So I
Oh,
mean that
see, that's like
yeah.
so terrifying. Okay, but we're in the right to be a little cautious. So,
Yeah,
do you have any tricks for knowing for sure if they're upselling or if you could do without it?
I'd say probably to be on the safe side, ask one of your car friends first before going.
All right, well, now I got you. So,
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, no one's gonna, your friends aren't gonna lie to you.
hmm yeah, that's the car repair is always like so terrifying. Do you ever recommend going to like one of those repair shops versus like the car service with your car dealer?
Okay, yeah, now one of those car shops, like one of your local mechanics.
Like an AutoZone, Pep Boy. I don't even know where people go, or like even like a collision center. I don't know. Do collision centers ever help you? Because obviously I keep bringing up a collision center. There's one that's literally 2 houses away from me, and I'm like, hey, my car can get here, and like I love you guys. Like, can you just like tell me what's going on here? But like, where do you recommend if you think you have a car issue? What's the best bang for your buck on getting it fixed?
Ooh, dang. I'd say probably just like, cause AutoZone, I don't think they'd be able to help you if like there's a big issue like that. I mean, they're able to change like your windshield wipers, I think coolant. I'm not so sure, but your basic stuff, AutoZone, and then for oil changes and all those air filters, then you can go to one of those service places. But as far as like mechanics and stuff like that, probably one of your local mechanics that's trustworthy. Because most of the time, what I've seen, what they like to do is, oh, it could be this, and then they make you buy that part. So now you have that part brand new, but then you still have that issue. So then now you end up spending more money than you needed to.
Right. Yeah. That's like the biggest fear is like, are we spending too much money? Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Well, for those who are listening who want to continue to learn more about cars, since I know we kind of only touched on the basics, but if they want to continue learning or get some more visuals in association with this, where can we direct people?
You can send them either to my TikTok, which is OVET_Reynoso, and then that's also my Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect. Yeah, I know you got like all these amazing videos that make it look pretty easy. Of course, like to me, I'm still like terrified, but it looks approachable. So I appreciate those videos.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that's not even what I wanted to do.
I mean, look, you got something going here. Like you know your stuff about cars, and you dumbed it down for me. So thank you so much for that.
Okay.
Well, thank you. We are going to be pressing on the brakes on this episode. So thank you again for being on the show. And to everyone listening, thanks for sparing some of your time. And if you aren't tired of my puns yet, then get ready because next week we're going to cover another basic skill. So thanks, everybody, and take care. I hope this episode helped. Please subscribe, rate, and review to support the podcast. And follow along for more hacks, tips, and failed attempts on Instagram at How Did I Get This Far Pod. Well, that's as far as we will get for now. I'm Amanda Ogan. Thanks for listening.